One of the things I've learned recently is that there are 5 ways that you can help yourself, and you can choose amongst these 5 ways, and you can do them at home, you can do them at work, you can do them wherever you are. These 5 ways will help you stay a lot healthier. Keep active, keep learning, connect, take notice, and give. There's been lots and lots of research behind these 5 themes, and there's been many disciplines do the research, and it's all been brought together around these themes that keep reoccurring when we look at people's well-being and keeping themselves healthy and well. Most of these things that you can do are quite simple, but I think it'd be easy if we went and talked through each of the 5 of them for some simple ways that you can think about doing this for yourself. So our first way is be active. I'm going to talk to Shelley now, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the difference that keeping active made to her.
Being active is really important to me. It was something that I always knew was important, but I didn't feel that I was in the right place to do it at the time. Having 2 young children and making excuses really for it. I joined the HEAL scheme because I was struggling with managing home and work at that time. It stands for Healthy Employees Through Active Leisure, and it is exactly that. It's about helping employees to look at what's right for them. I just had a really bad relationship with food, to be honest, and it was a comfort rather than something that I did for putting the right things into my body, I suppose. And you get into a routine of eating poorly and feeling uncomfortable, and you think that's the norm. And it isn't until you start eating the right foods that you realise that, you know, it has an impact on how you feel. And it was a process that we went through, dealing with those issues, and then looking at my physical well-being, mental health, and looking at being active and eating better, and my relationship with food. That took quite a while to get to that point. Being active has made a huge difference in my life over the last year. It's made me feel great about myself. I'm physically active, I've got a great set of friends, and I feel really good and feel healthy and well. Things at home have improved. I can play with the kids out in the playing fields, playing football, going for bike rides and long walks, and they absolutely love being outdoors, but I never had the motivation to do that before, so they feel like they've got a new mummy. With regards to work, I just feel more engaged. I am able to think clearly. I can do my job better, and the impact that that's had is massive. My managers have obviously noticed a massive change, and that's great. It gives me a chance to develop my skills further and be more proactive, being able to challenge within my role and look at my development and move forward with that. My colleagues are obviously really supportive, and it's just great to walk into work every day and somebody, you know, making a positive comment and them taking the time to ask how I've done it and be interested, and actually some of them have then thought about how the HEAL scheme can help them too. I would encourage anyone to start some physical exercise and get active. It doesn't have to be full-on classes. It can be, like I said, going for a walk and engaging with the children and playing. It just makes you feel so much better, so much more alive, more energised, and once you've done those steps, you kind of get the bug a little bit, and then you want to go do a little bit more and maybe go for a jog and jog from one lamppost to another, and you think, I can do that, and I'm going to go for a run, and then next thing you know, you're doing a 5k run. That would have never have ever happened to me, but I've achieved that, and actually achieving those goals is really, really motivating and something that I'm really proud of.
So our second way is to keep learning. So this is George, who's going to tell us about the difference that learning made to him.
Learning is everything. It's not just about sitting in a classroom, it's not just about the conversations, it's what's said and what's not said. It's everything to me. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I find myself going through that experience of learning and embracing it much closer than when I was actually at college. Over the last 5 years, my biggest learning experiences hasn't always come from a book. It's come from people. So I've been fortunate to have some great mentors. One of the biggest learning experience for me is I have a virtual board in my head, and I have some ridiculous people, well, some very, not ridiculous, but some amazing people on my learning board. So one of the people are Barack Obama. Another person is my aunt. And I ask myself when I'm challenged with a situation, what would my aunt, who has got a wealth of knowledge, what would she do in this situation? If I have to leave any lasting legacy, it's about enabling people to see the challenges, to believe in themselves, and to take action. That's why my whole life of learning is one about enabling. That's the exciting thing that energizes me.
Third way is to connect. Here's Rick, and he's going to talk about how he stayed connected.
Connect means connecting with people through friends, family, through hobbies, interests, which when you're depressed you just give up. You feel there's no point in anything, there's no point in telephoning friends saying, do you want to go out, see cinema, have a few beers, or take an interest. Just the basic word of connect means just that. Connecting with friends, connecting with family, hobbies, interests, even cooking a fantastic meal if you want to do that, because I know it's hard when you're at the bottom, but once you start connecting, that's when things build and improve for yourself. My own experience started with classic cars. When I was discharged from hospital, no job, I felt like washed up, my life was over, and a friend said, look, you're going to help me with this car, so he gave me a carburettor to rebuild, which I suppose you call in professional terms occupational therapy, which I enjoyed. It distracted my mind, sort of pondering on the doom and gloom which you feel your life's over. Being occupied, being busy, having an hobby, having an interest. And that can be anything with anybody, and I'm just seeing classic cars, photography, writing, poetry, things like that. And it builds up from that connection. It was from the interest of working with my friends' classic cars that I joined the Classic Car Club, and I got an interest with the parts because I work with parts, and that built up to eventually say become the space secretary, and then hence from that the job I have today. And the snowball effect from that is you meet new people. Connect made for me to be a lot more satisfied with my lot in life. Before I was ill, I worked in engineering. I had a very good salary, but I was never happy. I always strive for more, strive for more. I had a Golf GTI, I wanted a 16-valve GTI. I had a house, I wanted a bigger house. Today, I drive an old Renault, I have my little council flat, but I'm content with life, I'm content with everything. I can sometimes walk into town by the canal, just be with nature, with peace. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. Whereas before, I never noticed the little things that lift you up.
The fourth way is to take notice. Here's Adrian now to tell us about how he takes notice.
Taking notice to me means really listening to yourself, your colleagues, your friends, and taking the time in the environment to have space to take in what they're saying to you. Quite often for me that means being outside and taking the time to realise actually how you best hear what people are saying when you're listening to them. One of the things that I've learnt is that if you're not really feeling what's going on around you, then you can miss signals. So again, you have to make that space, and you have to be tuned in to not just what people are saying, but how they're behaving, how they're reacting to you as well. Taking notice has worked for me from practical experience, really. I had a period where I wasn't very well. I didn't know I wasn't well, and what I realised from that was that I'd stopped taking notice. So since then I've been trying to role model, actively lead in listening to others, being seen to go out, actually to look at stuff around me. So for example, what I do is I always have a break at lunchtime. Taking a break at lunchtime means is leaving this building, getting out of the office, going and buying lunch. I'm actually looking out for who I know, because I know lots of people and they're quite often out at lunchtime as well. So it's an opportunity to catch up, but also to change what you've been experiencing by being locked inside building or buildings. And engagements allowing, and I make sure they do allow, going out for a walk in the evening in the hills with my family. What it does is empty my head, and I think that's what it does for other people as well. So rather than the immediate thoughts about what you've been doing on that day and what you're going to be doing the following day, it unlocks the space to be able to think about what the whole council, what I should be doing in 3 months' time, in 12 months' time, how we actually take the steps to get to that longer term place. If I contrast when I wasn't taking notice with when I've now started to, when I wasn't taking notice, it wasn't just potentially impacting on me, because if I wasn't listening to myself, I wasn't noticing the impact potentially on other people as well, and looking out for other people's emotional well-being at times of stress and when there's lots of work is obviously as important as looking after yourself. And compare that to now, if you're looking after yourself, then you tend to notice better signals from others. So even as we're going about our daily lives, whatever it is, we can do things differently. We can try to take more notice, look at the tree outside the window, think about what inspires us, and actually look out for that in daily life. And if you can identify what the triggers are, there's actually a way to technique taking notice, so it's not an accident.
The fifth way is giving. So here's Louis to talk about how he became involved in giving.
Give means to me sort of giving my time back to my local community, and I got offered a chance to do that through Kirklees Council with Almonbury High School, doing a mentoring scheme which took place pretty much the most of last year, and it was just sort of helping out kids who weren't sort of underachieving at school but just needed sort of a push in the right direction and someone to talk to who want a teacher or a parent. As the time goes on, you get to see that a trust is built up, and in my case the mentees did sort of open up, as it were, and tell me things that they might not say to anyone else, you know, nothing personal, just you can see that you sort of get in a type of relationship on a level which then in turn made me sort of care about what they were doing in terms of getting good grades and stuff, and they could trust me enough to say, I've had a bad day because of this, or I've had a bad day because of that, or I've had a really good day, or I'd like to achieve this. So you can see that there is progression. I benefited from that whole scheme. I think, one, I got a qualification, which I would have never sort of seeked that out if it weren't for the council giving me the opportunity. But I got sort of, they say that sort of feel-good feeling, you know, helping people out, and what it did do, it changed my whole perspective on volunteering. That was the main thing. It wasn't about working with young people or anything like that. I sort of think that people could get a lot out of someone just giving up an hour a week. That's basically what I got out of it, and I think that changed for me. Plus it opened up opportunities that, like I said, now we've got the kids coming down every week, and they asked me to do some mock interviews for the Year 11s last year for their college applications, and I went along and I did that. And to anybody who's thinking about giving, you're never going to know what it's like until you try it. You can always stop, but if you just start small, give half an hour and then an hour, and then you never know. Yeah, just try it really.
The 5 ways to wellbeing are about you taking action and making a conscious decision for yourself and some deliberate choices to look after yourself and your health and wellbeing.